Hey, founders, Kirk Michie here. A couple of tips about something that you probably have not thought about. In fact, your buyer might not even thought about this yet, depending on whether they are a strategic buyer, a company that's in your business or a big competitor to you, or an experienced financial buyer like a private equity firm. They will have processes for this, but if your buyer is an inexperienced or private equity firm that's only done a dozen transactions or something like that, or worse yet, a search fund or an independent sponsor that only sporadically does transactions or hasn't done one before, they will not have thought through or have any experience or defined processes about the things that are going to happen right before closing and the things that need to happen right after closing. For example, they might have in due diligence gotten a handle on all of the outside vendors for software and your website and payment processing and things like that. And they may have even asked you for the login and passwords for all that stuff. And if you're coming along with the transaction, that won't be a problem. But what happens in many cases is if you're being absorbed into a bigger entity, there might be the thought that your stuff will meld into their stuff. And if there's not a process or a procedure, the issue won't just be that there will be a couple of months of unnecessary payments. The problem might be that your website goes dark. The problem might be that your taxes don't get filed on time because nobody coordinated who was going to file the taxes for the stub year when your transaction happened before year end or, kind of any time other than exactly at year end, right? There will also be some other things. Is your outsourced payroll, whether it's through Gusto or ADP or Administaff, is that going to get taken over by them? Or are you going to get absorbed into theirs? We have heard about cases where employees don't get paid their first paycheck after a deal gets done because nobody was really tracking that. So look, in the excitement and the tension around pre-closing and moving towards the closing at the time when, you, the seller, is pretty excited about the big wire transfer that's going to happen at the end of the week on closing day. And the buyer is making sure they've got everybody's wire instructions and they've got the final bill from the law firms and, all of those, kind of proceeds and payment streams and other elements of closing your transaction are being done. Don't forget about the unsexy stuff. Don't forget about the fact that there is an entity that's living and breathing, and there needs to be some process to keep that living, breathing entity doing all the things it did to become so valuable that somebody wants to pay you a lot of money for it. Don't assume that your buyer is thinking about those things, because you're going to feel the legacy responsibility of needing to make sure those things happen the right way. So go ahead and maybe test a little bit of the rapport with the new buyer to ask some questions about these things. We have found that while our buyers get annoyed with us when we ask about things that they find insulting, that we should assume that they're already doing or they know about, then in almost all cases, there's something that somebody was grateful that got asked. Hey, have you guys thought about this? What's going to go on with that? What should I do about this? Who's going to do this? So make sure in that period of frenzy towards the end that the mundane doesn't get left behind. This is not a sexy one, but oh man, will you be glad you did this. All right, that's it for this week. Thanks for coming by.